Hello friends, it's funkyplaybrothers, and please remember to subscribe to YouTube. And they were reading He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Tales of Eternia, a Netflix anime series. The Hunt for Mossman, New York Times best-selling author Gregory Mann. Book 1, The Hunt for Mossman, Chapter 12. Now, Chapter 12. The Sword of Power did not come with an instruction manual, so it was no small risk that the champion took when he stood in the path of the flame. He'd blocked a smaller blast, but no one had actually informed him that the blade could protect him against the incinerating breath of a far more powerful dragon. And yet it worked, as He-Man held the sword upright and leaned his right shoulder forward. The flames bent around him like a river, splinting in the path of a huge boulder. Sweat was bursted out of his power. His face and right arm were burning. His legs too, but he was alive. Face and right legs was alive. No, he was more than alive. He felt even stronger. The power within him seemed to grow, as if it was intensifying to meet the challenge of the dragon. The normally invisible tattoos on his arm, the sigils of his power, began to glow with radiant golden light. The same thing happened when he called on his lightning strike attack too. He-Man kind of wished they shined all the time. Adam never would guess he'd be into tattoos, but these magical Grayskull ones were awesome. He pressed forward, step by step. He hoped Battle Cat and Rami were safe. He couldn't hear or see them. The dragon seemed to be focused on all her fiery power on him. The beast had a serious set of lungs too, because she still hadn't stopped for another breath of air. The fire wasn't slowing or weakening. He-Man didn't want to destroy the dragon. They'd come all this way to talk, not fight. He needed to convince the beast that he was someone worthy of her attention, not her destructive breath. Lowering his shoulder, he moved around one difficult step at a time. The fire grew hotter and hotter. His face was soaked with sweat. He had to put a stop to this attack. Crouching low, He-Man summoned all his strength and leaped forward into the raging flame. The fire flowed around him, and then he was cleared to the dragon's breath, throwing to ground at Granu's leathery clawed feet. The flame was above his head now, striking the ground behind him where he'd stood only seconds before, and the preoccupied dragon didn't even see him. The ancient sorcerer was too busy breathing fire to notice He-Man looking up at the beast's huge, heaving stomach. He tossed the sword from right hand to left. Then he jumped, tight-ended his fist, and punched the dragon cleanly in the gut. The flames sputtered. Granny gasped. She coughed out puffs of white smoke and stumbled backward out of the darkness of the castle. Two smaller dragons followed. The sentries, He-Man recognized them from the flight on the plateau, were next. As the air cleared, Battle Cat and Rami hurried to He-Man's side. A final dragon swooped out of the darkness, yet this one flew erratically, dropping 1 second, flapping its wings to rise up the next, as if it was still learning how to fly. "What now?" Battle Cat asked. "More ramming?" "No," He-Man replied. "We came here to talk." The dragon sorcerer stopped backing up. The puffs of smoke ceased. She breathed in deeply, as if clearing her lungs, and stood taller, one at a time. The circling dragons swooped down and landed deftly beside her. All except the last one. The struggling dragon, timing his final circle wrong, and slammed straight into the icy wall. When its wings spread out wide, the dragon clawed at the ice with its feet, but slipped down before it could stop its slide and crashed to the floor. "She's so embarrassed," one of the dragons muttered. "She's your sister," Granny roared, "and if in a century or two she'll be more powerful than the lot of you put together." The fallen dragon shook out her wings and slumped over to the others. Embarrassed, the beast stood at Grandmir's side. The tallest one barely reached the top of her huge stomach. The smallest, the girl, was still larger than He-Man, and all of them had their chests puffed, as if they were ready to unleash another round of fire blast as soon as Granamir gave the order. "We're not here to fight," He-Man insisted. "I'm He-Man. These are my friends, Battlecat and Ram-Mam." "We merely have questions," Battlecat said. The huge gemstone in Rammy's helm of destruction sparked. "But we'll fight if we have to," she said. "Rammy," Battlecat roared. "That's not helpful. I appreciate your honesty, young lady," Granny replied. "But I will warn that my children and I will fight to the death to defend our home if necessary." "I understand," He-Man replied. "We don't mean to threaten you. We know the importance of defending one's home." Ram-Mam sneered. "Oh, do we, He-Man?" Adam briefly closed his eyes and sighed with frustration. She was back on the Tiger Tribe thing again. "Not now, Rammy. Skeletor could be invading our jungle right now." "Skeletor?" Granny interrupted. "Is this the new tyrant who rules the world of men and women?" Crass added. "Yes," Battlecat answered. "He sits on the throne in Eternos. He wants to turn all Eternia into a wasteland, but he's not the reason we're here," Granny He-Man said. "We're not here to fight either. We need your help." "If you're not here to fight, then why do you brandish that sword?" He-Man looked down at the Sword of Power. Maybe if he sheathed his weapon, what if he powered down to show Granamir that they didn't mean to be a threat? He looked at Battlecat, who shook his enormous head silently, gesturing that He-Man was thinking. If he powered down, he transformed into a 16-year-old kid, a scrawny teenager who definitely wouldn't be able to withstand the deadly breath of an ancient dragon. "Please," Battlecat interjected, "we only ask for information. According to legend, you are one of the oldest creatures in Eternia." "Not even close," Granamir protested. "There's at least one tree who has beat me by a few hundred years. I've heard of a mushroom who might be 4 million years old, too. She's very private, though, and lives underground. Where there are the Florians, too. They are at least what?" The eyes of the three masters widened collectively at the mention of the Florians. "That's why we're here," he said. "We're hoping to learn more about Florians. We need to find one in particular. Most Eternians call him Mossman, even though his real name is Krenna, and we hope you might be able to help. We want to read your book." "My book?" Now Grandma stood even taller. She tilted her huge head to one side and leaned forward, lowering her voice. "You know of my book?" "Yes," Rammy answered. "It was supposed to be in the library at Grayskull, but it's missing." "Now that is true tragedy," Granny replied. He-Man leaned forward. "I'm sorry to press, but do you know where we might be able to find the Florians we're looking for?" "She knows everything," the youngest dragon chirped in. "She's the wisest being in all of Eternia." Before the young dragon could even finish her sentence, Granny spat a fireball at her feet. The little dragon leaped backward and tripped over her wings. "Quiet," Granny snapped. She turned back to the masters and studied them through narrowed eyes. Instinctively, He-Man gripped the Sword of Power, ready to protect his friends if the dragon decided to spit a fireball in their direction too. Granny noticed the champions tightening his fist. Her long mouth curled into an angry cowl. "Leave my island now," she pronounced. "I decided long ago that I would no longer involve myself in the affairs of humans. I don't trust men." She turned toward Rammy. "Nor women?" Rammy crouched into a fighting stance. The ram stone in her helmet began roiling with energy. Sparks flew out of her rocket-powered boots. Battlecat extended his Grayskull-powered claws of the wild, and they crackled with energy and power. The two masters looked ready to wrestle the answers out of the dragon. But He-Man guessed another battle wasn't going to get them anywhere. He had to show this ancient being that he was telling the truth. Slowly, with his eyes locked on those of Grandma's, He-Man lowered this power of sword to the ground the beast's feet. Granny tried to stop him, Battlecat too, but He-Man was determined and the champion backed away from the temptress sorceress. Granny did not move toward the sword, neither did any of the dragon's descendants. Inside, they watched in wonder as He-Man transformed this part for Adam. It was still super weird in part. It was contagious in a flash. His huge arms shortened and shriveled his legs too. Giant powerful muscles that stretched across his chest and popped out of his back all but disappeared. His rib cage shrank and turned from a massive warrior back into a scrawny teen. Standing before the dragon, Adam shrugged. The suspicious glare of Grandma's face relaxed. Now the dragon regarded him with an awe. You said you don't trust men or women, Adam replied. Well, I'm not a man, I'm a kid, and I need your help. That's the end of chapter 12. And the dragons would probably be adorable. They need to make a show of this. Oh wait, they did! Just not about the books. 10 out of 10, 3 million thumbs up. So, friends, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on social media as Funky Play Brothers, Funky Play Bros. Support our vlog, cash out of the $sign Funky Play Bros. Thanks for watching. Bye!